Hello everyone, good morning, and welcome to another exciting week here at OS World Cup 2022. The round of 32 is in the rearview mirror, and we are moving onward to the round of 16 matchups and losers bracket round 1, which is what we're going to be starting off with today, the match between Israel and Japan. I'm T1G. Joining me is going to be a new commentator in the box. You recognize him from the Map Pool showcases, but haven't seen him on a match before. It is Dada. Welcome, Dada, to your first match. How are you doing today?
Hey, hi guys. It's a pleasure to be here. If you're in the Western Hemisphere, good morning. If you're in the Eastern Hemisphere, like is the case of Japan, like very Eastern, good evening. And if you're anywhere else in the world, hi. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're gonna be like just heading into this match between Israel and Japan. Obviously, one of these seems potentially a surprise to be here, and the other one very much not so, even though they had a surprisingly good showing in their first match.
Yeah, of course, Israel coming off that loss against the United States. Nobody was surprised by the result, but I think they were pretty surprised by the fact that Israel managed to put up 2 points against the 1 seed and favored team to possibly win this entire thing. Israel taking them out on a DT pick and on a Nomad 1 pick before losing 5 maps in a row. Japan, a highly anticipated match last week against Singapore that was very back and forth. They made a little bit of a run to come back and send it to a tiebreaker, but did eventually lose. Yeah, a team you don't normally see this early on in the losers bracket, but here we are nonetheless. And of course, at the same time as this match, because we did have some epic scheduling shenanigans this weekend, we have Sweden versus Finland. That match can be found over on the B stream. Type !B stream in chat. It's OSUlive_2. That one's gonna be casted by Doomsday and Miles, so you've got that match going on at the same time. Pop in on both, set them both up, watch them both, and have some fun with some OWC action twice at one time. But back over here, we're going to be getting into things pretty quickly. It looks like we've got Japan ending up with the first ban. Israel will be banning second. That's going to be a Nomad 2 hidden 2 quick couple of bans. It's interesting though, coming out of last week, there were only a couple maps between these two teams from their previous matches that were in common, and none of them were all that close. I would like to think that this match can be a competitive one, but those results don't really indicate that.
Well, the one that was kind of close was a map that both of them won, but obviously Japan won by a bigger margin. So Nomad 1 was the only map that they both won that was a common pick, and then there was also the Free Mod 1 coinciding, and they both essentially got a similar score in Free Mod 1, even though they both lost that map. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone would agree that Japan is a heavy favorite in this matchup. Israel is the bottom seed of the tournament, and Japan is a 16 seed that got upset. Open quotes. But Israel had a good showing last time around, getting 2 points off of basically the consensus juggernaut, consensus favorite of the tournament in the US. So, yeah, and we're going to be heading into the Hard Rock 1 very, very quickly. The first pick coming off of the Israeli side, it's Cheat Reel, and it's a decently long map. It's a very classic sort of map. Everyone's either played this or at least is aware of this map's existence. And who do you think this is favored for?
Yeah, I mean, based on last week, right? The Japan won, the Hard Rock won, and Nomad won last week. Nomad 1 was the actual aim map of those two, so you'd have to think that they're going to be pretty favored on this. Japan, typically a pretty good hard rock aim team. Obviously missing Varvalian, who's one of the best hard rock aim players out there, but their roster of Invoker, Vento, Tichy, and Eiger not going to be weak on this type of map by any means. Against Painted Koala, Galug, Chip, and Mr. Potato, I think Japan definitely had a pretty solid advantage, and they're going to start off with a little bit of a combo lead as well, with Mr. Potato finding that early break in the intro.
Uncharacteristic early break from Mr. Potato here. He was obviously one of the big names, like as big as they can be of a 32 seed, but he was one of the big names coming into this Israeli roster this year. And yeah, disappointing to have a break at such an early stage in the map, but it's a very long map. It won't matter that much, hopefully.
Yeah, last week, the big names for Israel were Chip and Mr. Potato. Chip played 6 of the 7, Mr. Potato played all 7 of the maps in that match, and they both had higher match costs than the rest of their team by a pretty significant margin. Definitely looked a little more well-rounded, definitely looked like they were having a little better performance. But unfortunately, that's a second break already for Mr. Potato, so this lead is going to grow out a little bit more in favor of the Japanese side. So there is the first miss for that team. It is on Invoker, but Painted Koala follows it up, and that is pretty bad for Israel, as it's now 3 FCs to 1 in favor of the Japanese side of things.
The double miss from the exit of that bus ladder was like very tough to see, but Vento also training a break here, so it is 2 FCs to 2. Or Galog actually has like a little bit of an early break, but it's basically an FC.
I'm kind of surprised to see Invoker and Vento both breaking where they did, but Tichy and Eiger both looking very strong. Okay, well, as I say that, Tichy and Galog trade. So it's Chip versus Eiger, the only 2 FCs now left in the lobby. Accuracy in favor of Chip in that little 1v1 matchup, but Japan bringing a 100,000 point lead into the second half of the map. As we said, this one is quite long. It's 4 minutes. So it does give you some time to build back up combo if you break, in the early stages, which you're seeing some players doing, like Painted Koala, Mr. Potato, and Vento.
Back when I used to play this map, this was around the time where it'd start choking. So I would assume that there's going to be a couple of the more mechanics, like mechanics caused miss over here in this part, but like everyone is holding strong. Never mind Galog with the first break on this section. Not one of their FCs though. Chip still very strong.
Yeah, Chip holding down the FC for Israel. It is another break there from Mr. Potato, though the only supporting combo is Painted Koala, but that's a big break. That's Eiger falling, and that is the lone full combo that was left for Japan, which means Chip can now bring this one back for Israel. He is looking very comfortable. 99.34 act is, about 1/100 shy of the highest in the lobby behind Invoker and Tichy, but it's enough combo that this score should come back.
He still has about 200k score to go, so especially with his hack, it should go back over, and there it is.
Israel gonna continue to surprise the world this week. Painted Koala, Chip both break, but Eiger and Tichy had both just broken. Invoker has a combo lead over Galog and Mr. Potato, though, and with that break from Mr. Potato, this can now fall back over to the Japan side as Galog breaks.
Watch out for the last stack.
This is
going to lose a lot of act there if they don't remember it.
Oh man, this ending is going to be so close. The score gap is falling, but not by enough. Invoker tries his best to bring it back at the end, but Israel holds on for a bare minimum of a 6,795 score lead. And they will take the first pick and a 1-0 lead. Shades of last week coming in here already, where they won the first pick against the United States, who were heavy favorites in that match. Now they win the first pick against Japan, who are heavy favorites in this one.
Mr. Potato basically taking the words out of my mouth there. Monka. That was very close, very back and forth. Honestly, it's exactly as it was last week, where you win a pick that maybe you didn't look 100% on, but a win is a win, and you're gonna take it. Like, you're a heavy underdog, and to start off and kick off the momentum like that, it's very nice. You gotta feel very good. As
we say in golf, there's no pictures on the scorecard. And Israel are fine with that here as well. Japan going to go into their own first pick. It's going to be DT2. It's going to be the Senya satellite map. What can you tell us about this one?
Well, I can tell you something. The Israeli side actually technically won the DT2 last week, but it was a completely different map. So there's not much you can base off of for this pick. Like, the stamina only DT wasn't really a thing last week. Like, the DT3 was more of a mix between both speed and stamina. But you wouldn't expect Israel to be, like, extremely uncomfortable on this, but Japan is definitely favored. I'd say overall, in terms of speed, Japan is the heavy favorite in this matchup, even though the Israeli players aren't necessarily bad at it. So
yeah, Japan didn't really play a whole lot of tapping last week. They banned out Double Time 3, and the only map of the remaining tapping favored maps that they played, I mean, you can't even really call it that. They played DT1, which was really not tapping heavy, so they just kind of didn't play anything in this skill set last week at all. Meanwhile, Israel, as you said, they won that DT2 by a very, very small margin, which was not really a tapping-focused DT2, and then they got smashed pretty hard on Fremod 2 and on DT3, which were fairly tapping heavy. So definitely not a great look here for Israel. I would not be surprised if they end up putting it up a decent score, but as you said,
they didn't have a horrible performance on DT3 for the seed that they're signed, but obviously the US was a lot better. But yeah, heading into this map, we're gonna see Caution in how do you pronounce this?
I don't know. I genuinely
FXXYX Fixix.
Apparently it's pronounced something along what you just said, but we just called him FXX last week because we didn't know, because Israel has a lot of players who have very difficult to pronounce usernames. You have Yama Darkness.
Yama Darkness is Ablu.
Yep, coming in to make the one substitution for Japan.
That is something I want to mention. We're going to be calling Yama Darkness Ablu, and we're going to be calling La+1 Iger, because those are their most commonly referred to names. So yeah, we assume that they're renames to the same VTuber, which is funny, but
familiarity is a wonderful thing for usernames. You can kind of always refer back to what people are best known as. It is one break for each team so far. The aforementioned FXXY and Yama Darkness Ablu being the first couple of players to miss. So the subs coming in and unfortunately missing early on.
Before it's very even, you'll see a little bit of an axe struggle on both of the players that missed. Yama Darkness, aka Ablu, with 93, now dipping below it, and Fixix with the almost 96. Not necessarily in their element, maybe just a little bit of a field player for that. Or maybe they just want a combo game. That's perfectly valid.
On a map like this one, I mean, there's a lot of bursts and streams. Like, you can understand playing the combo game over the act game a little bit at certain moments if you start to have your stamina run out. And this is still staying incredibly close. The accuracy on FXX not overcoming his combo deficit to Ablu. And there's a break from Chip pretty near the ending, and I think that might just send this the way of Japan, especially with Caution missing as well. That will definitely end this one. Japan's going to take their first pick. It stayed close until past 3/4 of the way through, but Japan's going to run away with this in the end.
It stayed close because of Ablu's early miss, and obviously he misses again now, but the other players in Japan, very confident, very well played from the whole Japanese team, with Invoker, Vento, and Tichi all scoring very nice FCs here. Meanwhile, on the side of Israel, Mr. Potato being the only one to score that elusive full combo, but didn't play badly either. Everyone with over 750k in scores. Respectable, and it doesn't really give me too much of a headache when I look at the next speed picks, and potentially Israel might even still try and upset those. I still don't think that Israel's going to try to pick speed, but looking at their scores and looking at Japan's scores, maybe there's a little bit of a world where variance kicks in and Israel can get one of those points.
Yeah, this map made DT1 and DT3 as well as FM2 a little bit less desirable, I think, for Japan to pick, seeing that this was quite close. I mean, it was literally just those two misses on the side of Israel away from being basically a dead heat. So...
Oh.
And now we're gonna go the Nomad 1 pick again from Israel. I mean, this makes sense. This was their first pick against USA last week. They're a team that feels good about aim. When you compare their score to Japan's score on Nomad 1 last week, it's a little bit worrisome, but this is a bit of a different style of Nomad 1, so maybe they feel like their fortunes might hold up the way they did against the United States rather than the way they did comparing their score to Japan's.
It's both a substantially streamier Nomad 1, like the last one had essentially no streams, and it's also a substantially older style Nomad 1. With the lower AR and the lower sort of like just the older mapping style and a couple of the flow choices, it feels like an older map in the style sort of Cheap Reel, which was their first pick. So it doesn't make sense. Although in a comparison that we made, their number one score was 500k worse than Japan's last match. So it makes sense in some aspects. You know, you're the 32 seed. You're not gonna have very confident picks, but you gotta work with what you have.
And I don't think this is a bad pick for them either. With especially like the BPM is lower, so even though it's streamier, it's still like relatively comfortable. And they have this roster of Painted Koala, Mr. Potato Chip, and Galog, which is the same roster, I believe. Oh no, they had Tai in for Nomad 1 last week, and they're switching Galog in this time. Japan also changing from their Nomad 1 roster, going Tichi, Vento, Iger, Kinakon. Last week they had Dectopia in the slot that Kinakon is currently, or in the slot that Vento is currently occupying. So going away a little bit from their previously standard aim roster on Nomad 1 for this different type of Nomad 1 are both teams. Let's see how it turns out for them.
It's interesting. I would have expected Ablu to be on a mechanics map like this, but I think maybe the AR might be a little bit too low. Ablu obviously known for that like high AR DT mechanics play, and this is anything but a high AR map, so...
Yeah, it's hard to tell with him. The only map he was in for last week was when they played a DT1. And, you know, obviously here in for some DT as well. So that might just be his role on the team, is to fill in for DT picks and not much else. There is an early break for Galog at the 400 combo mark. Mr. Potato following it up on the stream. And Japan holding the 4-way as Chip falls as well. Or 3-way,
essentially everyone in Israel missed on the start of the Ki on like the stream section or the jump section, like just before, and there goes Painted Koalas, so no more FCs for Israel.
Well, Israel is just going to be offering up a prayer here. They have no FCs against a triple FC, including very high accuracy on all three players. And Kinakon, just with the early break, has recovered quite well. He's a couple hundred combo behind the FCs, but he's still doing all right for himself. There's not a lot you can do at this point if you're Israel other than just hope the other team does what happened to the United States, where they all broke in the exact wrong place. Does happen to Vento. He does break it almost exactly the halfway mark, so that's going to cap his score out, but you're still watching Tichi and Iger on the 2-way FC for Japan. That's still more than enough to hold on to this lead. Almost are starting to grow on Galog, Painted Koala, Chip, and no longer Mr. Potato or Galog. Well, they were doing what they needed to until they weren't at that point. And Tichi and Iger still holding just fine. And we're starting to get to the point of no return here, despite it still being a third remaining of this map, because this score lead is 500,000 points.
It's a shame because I think they're all missing eventually at the Kiais, so it kind of shows that the pools have started to scale a little bit past their range, but it is a little bit disheartening to see like the second pick of your match essentially go so decisively to the enemy. But maybe they can still turn this around. Not this map in specific, but their next pick, or maybe they can try for a breakpoint somewhere.
Yeah,
and Tiger still holding very strong.
Well, not anywhere Tichi. Not anywhere I. Really? They just both broke on nothing and lost. Yeah, come on, guys.
Sorry.
You can't do this to us. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this was kind of what we expected, right? Like, Japan just looks like, on paper and based on past results, they look like the better AIM team. And despite the pool, quote-unquote, only being, you know, the 6.7 star no mod 1, that's still relatively difficult, and it is, you know, allowing them to kind of show off their higher skill cap on AIM maps. I understand Israel picking this, and it still feels like a mispick. But also, if you're a 32 seed, as you said at the beginning of the map, there's not a lot of picks you're going to feel super confident in.
Yeah, we don't know the information they have. Eventually, they probably have a sheet or some other way of keeping track of their scores and their preferences. And occasionally, it is just that when you're the underdog coming into a match, you maybe feel like good on one or two maps, and then every other map you feel like okay, but you feel like the enemy team is a little bit better, so you just gotta try and hope for the best, which is it's how it goes sometimes. But obviously, it's still very early on in the match. You're still 2-1, only one breakpoint, so a little bit early. Personally, that's how I see this map. Let's see if the prophecy holds true, but Israel needs a lot of random misses from Japan here to a very sensitive section. You lose focus for a little bit, especially on a DT pick like this, and you just miss one note from under aiming, and it's close to an FC on Dectopia.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid team score, just shy of 3.7 million. They So, I'm trying to follow the logic here, because I always try to follow the logic here. You lose DT2, you lose DT3, but then you pick Freemod 2, which is another kind of tapping heavy, speedy sort of pick. I don't know that I really follow along with this one in a world where Freemod 1 and Freemod 3 were both open that are kind of a moderate aim pick for each. Freemod 3, which has been discussed as specifically being intentionally somewhat easy in this pool so that you could do things like maybe overmod or maybe have consistent FCs and give some of the lower seeds a little bit of a better chance against a higher seed. But instead you go for one of the most difficult remaining picks with Freemod 2 that has a very high tapping requirement after losing 2 tapping maps very badly.
Well, I kind of know why they picked this, and it's to try and cheese with some of the ending. Maybe they practice it, like, extensively, and they're betting on Japan not really having counted on Israel picking this, but I don't know if it's gonna work if you can't see the rest of the map.
Also, just to inform really quick while we're getting into this map, Finland is currently ahead 3-1 against Sweden on the B stream after taking a break point on Nomad 1. So break point on Nomad 1 in both matches.
Basically the same score that we have here, both 3-1 matches, and the seeding favorite is leading, so let's get into this Kobario map here. Dectopia with the early miss.
We do see Dectopia on the hidden, which is probably the harder mod, I would think, on a map like this. Hard Rock on Invoker and Mr. Potato is maybe a little easier than hidden, though caution with the hidden for Israel, starting off fine for himself. This one's going to be pretty close early on. Israel will have a small lead, now growing a little bit more. There's a break from Tichy, but FXX will discover an early break. He will uncover it on the Israel side. And as we get a little lag, there we are. It's going to stay close. It's going to be about 40-50k. Tichy breaking again in the slow part. All right, Israel just knew something we didn't, and that was that Japan was going to randomly have a lot of trouble in the easy part of this map, where Tichy just broke 3 times on basically nothing.
It's a deceptively tricky speed map. Like, it's not 100% conventional, so maybe they just relied on Japan's players not having a little bit more of that that dog in him. As caution breaks with the hidden. So still, now 1FC to 1.
It's 1FC to 1 with A-Blue and Mr. Potato, but Dectopia has a large combo for Japan, while the other 5 players all have basically nothing whatsoever. So this is A-Blue and Dectopia looking to bring back this lead. Mr. Potato doing what he can to hold on to it, but he is alone. Nobody else on that side has any sort of combo, and Israel is going to feel this lead slipping away from their grasp as we pass the halfway mark. A little bit of free combo here as well, just to add insult to injury, making things a little easier for Japan. And another break from caution. There's a bit of danger here.
Yeah, here's the funny section, or one of the funny sections. So only one player breaking on the buzz sliders, and now we have a big aim section, and A-Blue does break. So that is the FC gone there.
That's really big for Israel because it's going to allow Mr. Potato to continue to hold off Japan's advances by just a little bit more. Dectopia is still holding on though, and there is a lot of combo on Invoker and Teachy, while there is not on FXX or on Caution, but Chip is up there trying to help Mr. Potato as best he can. This one's staying very, very close into the last quarter of the map. It is all contingent on Mr. Potato holding this FC. If he does so, it does look like Israel will be able to hold on, backed by that Chip combo. But Caution finding another break late at the end here. There goes Dectopia and Invoker, though, and Israel just solidified the point with that break from the largest combo on Japan's side. And they are going to put up their second point on the board.
No, Mr. Potato chucking his FC at the very end.
Those butt sliders.
Yeah, no, this ending is brutal.
Yeah. That is a big score.
Extremely good play from Mr. Potato there with the Hard Rock. This is like a 7.6 star map with Hard Rock. It's insane, and this guy is just coming here and delivering very, very well, outscoring basically everyone on his team that didn't have a mod and everyone on the enemy team also. So extremely, extremely well played from Mr. Potato here.
That was very impressive. Surprising, I think, result to me at least. But the type of map being a little bit less straightforward, perhaps, than the couple of DT speed picks that Japan had won, led to Israel having that bit of an advantage. But the pick does now go back over to Japan. They do still have the breakpoint lead. It's still 3-2 in their favor. And they have... Well, they do have DT1 left. I think they go DT1 here, but if not, it'll be a big switch up. We'll be going to a skill set that really hasn't been played in this match regardless.
They're gonna do the classic DT player like roster move where you pick all the DTs in a row. That's always a classic.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, but they're going to go Nomad 3 instead. So yeah, we're seeing a big switch up. It's a completely different skill set.
Now for something completely different.
As we go into the pedal, Nomad 3.
I do know they have very talented alt map players on their team, but this isn't really a traditional alt map in the sense that, oh, everything is very flowy, very like hard diff plus DT kind of vibe. No, it's a more snapping, more like modern-ish map rather than the old school alt map that everyone kind of has in their brain as like the stereotypical alt map. So it'll be a little bit interesting. I think this will combine a little bit of the like aim elements of say a DT1, but obviously a little bit lower intensity, as well as just finger control and cursor control also because of some of the patterns here. As well as a little bit of finger control. There is a 1-3 part in sliders, but it will tank the act of some people who aren't ready. But I will definitely favor Japan on this one. I think they have to just have a much better roster on this particular pick.
Like we're saying, I would favor Japan on this one on a lot of these maps. It's the unfortunate side effect of being the higher seed, I suppose, by 16 slots.
we've been wrong for two of them.
We've been wrong at least twice. We'll be wrong a third time. Never know.
For the
Japan?
record, they did pick them on the last match, but they lost.
That was their first pick too, and they lost it. Like, I'm not really sure what to make of that. I mean, 2.6 mil is not a terrible score, but not a great score either. Especially for an early round. It looks like they struggled a bit on everyone other than Tichy in that match last week. But they are going to bring a similar roster here. Tichy, Autoline, and Eiger, 3 of the same 4 players. A-Blue is going to come in this time where it was Dectopia previously. He was their bottom scorer, so not surprising to see that player in that slot get replaced. Painted Koala, Gallag, Chip, Mr. Potato, kind of the standard roster you're going to see on most picks, it appears, for Israel's side. And we'll see if they can steal away a break point the way Singapore got a break point against Japan on the same map slot last week, or if Japan can lock it down.
Mr. Potato note locking the whole pattern. So starting off not on the right foot here, but everyone else seems to be stable as Tichy breaks on a random part as well. The person who FC'd No 3 last match for Japan, so not very nice to see. But yeah, I've also been informed that the other match, Sweden versus Finland, is, first of all, is 4-1 to Finland. So Finland has the match point there, and they've also picked the No 3 on that match, so both matches are playing the exact same map.
So it's 4v4, v4v4. The ultimate, what happens for the ultimate winner out of these 4 teams? Like, whatever one team gets the highest score out of all 4, what do they win? Do they get like a lovely parting gift for their trouble?
You know that, like, I hate to bring this up, but the Reddit silver meme, where it's just like a picture of a badly drawn coin.
Yeah.
I think we can afford to handle that out. I think that's in our budget.
Not many things are in our budget, but that is a crudely, quickly drawn image of a silver medal, and it looks like it's not going to be going to Israel at this juncture. About halfway through, they've dropped 3 of their 4 combos, with only Painted Koala remaining alive. Eiger, Autoline, and A-Blue holding it down on Japan's side, and Tichy recovering quite well from that very early miss.
Oh, if you can pick up from the stream here, this map is key sounded, so you can hear a bit of the key sounding in the stream hit sounds as Painted Koala hits all those patterns, because the audio does come from his screen, as far as I'm aware.
It's going to be a couple of breaks. Oh, that's a lot of breaks coming in. That's Painted Koala, Gallag, Mr. Potato, A-Blue, and Autoline all breaking on the same. So, A-Blue, my guy, that is a chain miss of epic proportions, but fortunately for Japan, it doesn't really matter at this point, because Eiger is doing the thing that Eiger does, where he just shows up on a random map and decides to full combo, or nearly, and solo carries it for his team.
Eiger is doing the Eiger multi-lobby things, where he might have not even practiced his map for all I'm concerned with, because he just does this to maps. A very impressive player. Been a standout of the Japanese roster for the last 2 years. Back when in 2020 or 2019, where he wasn't even like well known and really made an impression, and here EFC is No 3 with relative ease. So very, very nice play coming out from La Plus One, or L4 plus 1, which is L5 maybe.
L9.
No, not here. Not here.
That is a good score from Eiger, though. He he's one of the, he was a little like super unknown, except for people who play multi routinely. I remember the first time that I saw his name mentioned, everybody that doesn't play multi was like, "Who is that?" And people that play multi were like, "He's actually Faker." And it turns out he's actually Faker. The guy has been in a lot of tournaments in the last couple of years, and pretty much always shows up at some point to put on some ridiculous performance, just like that one.
Yes, chat, it's La Plus. It's named after a VTuber. I know. I watch their clips. I don't watch VTubers. I watch the VTuber clips. So my Zoomer brain.
So that makes you less of
condensed content.
Makes you less of a degen.
It's substantially less bad, I think, because you don't waste as much time.
All right, so taking a look at the scores overall here, we do have the result. Finland takes the point over Sweden. They take the match 5-1. They will advance onward. Sweden eliminated. But more importantly, Finland with the 2.3 million score, Japan with the 2.6 million score, so they will be the victors in the 4v4v4v4.
Hey Aaron, that's one prediction you made that is wrong now.
I know. I knew that one was going to be wrong, and I did it anyway. But we are going into another DT pick here. It's going to be from Israel this time. They're going to opt into another higher BPM pick. It's going to be DT1, which is a classic song for those who have been around. Ghost Assassin has a couple of ranked map sets. It's been around, the song is from like 2011 or 2012, because that was back in my my EDM era.
This song is apparently older or younger. Sorry, I'm like trying to pace myself in the timeline here. I think it's from 2015.
No, it's older than that. I'm fairly sure it's older than that. It was uploaded to Liquicity in 2012.
Was it?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I specifically.
I searched the lyrics. I searched the lyrics somewhere, and it said like 2015 song.
Nah, I specifically remember hearing this for the first time, and this is gonna date myself a little bit here. But I was watching Afromoo streaming 80 carry gameplay in season 2,
February 17th,
or like early season 3. In League of Legends. That was the first time I heard this song because he used to have the most insane playlists back then, and that was when I first heard Ghost Assassin. So that'll date it back to at least the 2012-2013.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, something to be mentioned here is this is a featured artist song. Because
Maduk is an FA, that's right.
Yeah, I do believe Maduk and the label he's in are both featured artists. So just a nice boost to the featured artist library. I think it's getting very, very nice.
Yeah, we're getting it's awesome to see that we're kind of reaching the point where you can make at least like a full qualifier spool out of FAs, right? Like we're progressing in a very cool direction with a lot of songs that are able to be used in Osu. It's been cool to see as that library just continues to increase over time, I guess. But getting into the map, we're gonna have Painted Caution, Chip, and Mr. Potato fighting for their tournament lives here on DT1, their own pick against Teachy, Dectopia, Invoker, and Eiger. Japan looking to close it out 5-2 on another relatively tapping heavy, but with a little more aim thrown in DT pick.
I think I wouldn't really say this is tapping heavy. This has like one very distinct tapping section in my opinion. Then everything else is very aimy. So Chip with the early break. Everyone else holding strong, so Japan will get off to a bit of an early lead here. So he head into the first break.
Yeah, Chip kind of offsetting his miss by having the second highest AC in the lobby. So despite him being a little bit of combo behind, the higher accuracy is going to help hold his score up a little bit. But there's an aim miss from Painted on those back and forth, followed by a stream miss from Mr. Potato on that burst, and that is very, very dangerous now for Israel. Japan going to run away with a big lead in this middle section of the map with a 4-way full combo still on their hands.
I'm going to be honest, when your opponent picked the other two DTs, I wouldn't really be confident in picking the remaining one, but they know something we don't. As Invoker misses on the second to last note before the break.
A little under aim. That's so sad. Still not the worst case for Japan by any means, though. They've got a big, big lead here. 600,000 points. A break from Caution is matched by Dectopia, so it's Eiger and Teachy looking to bring this one on home for Japan. Chip, the combo for Israel, but it's just not going to make much difference at this point, unfortunately. It's a 600,000 point lead. And
a little bit of a, not really going out with a bang, but more of a whimper, but still we just have to like acknowledge that Israel, as a 32 seed, way outplayed expectations.
Yeah, I would not have come into this tournament saying that Israel was even going to qualify, much less win 4 maps against teams as historically strong as the United States and Japan. This is them absolutely putting their best foot forward and putting on a really good showing for a team that is, from a very small country, does not have a big player base, does not have a lot of historical tournament success. So very, very impressed by what Israel was able to show to us this year.
And without their historically most notable player in Silver.
Yeah.
So very well played. But Japan takes the match 5-2, and they will be moving on. I don't believe they will be playing this weekend. They will be playing next weekend on potentially a doubleheader if they win the first match. But they will be moving on to the lower bracket round 2.
Yep, and that's going to be a matchup. It's going to be a matchup against the loser of Australia versus Romania next week, which is a super heavy hitting matchup in round of 16 winners and will result in a super heavy hitting matchup in round 2 of losers next week. So, best of luck there to Japan, because I think they'll probably need it, but they did look pretty solid today. They did what they needed to do in this match to win in advance.
So yeah, both matches on the 14 UTC block are finished. Congratulations to Japan and Finland. And we'll be taking an hour of break until we have Mexico and Thailand. So, anything else we want to say before we head to the break?
I think that is about it. Thank you guys all for watching. Thank you, Dada, for being here, joining us in the match commentary box, stepping over from the Map Pool Showcase commentary box. And yeah, we'll be back in just over an hour at 16 UTC. It'll be Thailand versus Mexico in another losers bracket matchup in our Saturday block. Only 2 matches left today, but both should be pretty exciting, so you don't want to miss them. In the interim hour, make sure you head over to the OSU store, pick up your banner to support your favorite team, whoever that may be in the tournament. And you can also head over to the Open Collective to donate toward the OWC prize pool for this year. So if you've got, a little side money you'd like to spend and donate and help out the cause of the World Cup prize pools, those are some great ways to do it. For Dada, I've been this one guy. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in about an hour's time with the next couple of matches here at OWC 2022 Round of 16 weekend.
Yeah.
This is for me.